Welcome into another edition of The Session with Londa and David. My name is David Austin.
Big pause. I'm Londa Sherwood-Austin. Welcome back.
Okay, I'm not going to start the show complaining.
Whoa.
But my hearing aids do not work while we're recording. And if you saw last week's episode, I threw them across the room. It was while you were talking, so you were kind of confused, and we kind of stopped the conversation for about half a second. But it's crazy because my hearing aids, with all the Bluetooth technology, talk to my phone. But when we're recording, they automatically take the sound from my phone, not from the world.
Well, the only person who suffers is me. Because when you don't have your hearing aids in, your volume goes up, which makes a lot of sense. And so we're in this very small room. Anyway, pish posh. These are very privileged problems to have.
I guess you're right.
Would you agree? Right. I mean, come on.
Yes.
What do we have to complain about?
So if I'm a little louder in this episode than I have been in the past few episodes, and I sound like we used to sound before I got hearing aids, that's why. I am not wearing them because I didn't want to throw them across the room.
Yeah.
I forgot all about it until I hit record on that camera right there, and all of a sudden, the sound was from that camera right there, not from the world.
Right.
So, no thank you. No thank you.
I said, what do we have to complain about? If you want to know, watch last week's episode. All right, moving on. You said you had some things you wanted to talk about this week. And one thing that I was excited about was an article that you read about how to be more... I think it was something about like how to sound smarter when you talk to people. Well, something like that. I always feel like an idiot. And so something like that's appealing to me. I don't know if that's really what the article was.
The article is actually an article about psychology and what high-level thinkers say when they communicate.
And I want to be a high-level thinker, so I'm for sure.
And the reason it's an important article is because for anyone in sales, you do want to sound like a high-level thinker. Mm-hmm. So there are some things that you can say that will make you sound more intelligent and sharpen your sales knives. You want your toolkit to be as sharp and strong as ever. And this article just talks about, not from the perspective of sales, I'm relating it to sales, something that high-level thinkers use in language. And you'll be interested to know, Londa, that every one of the things that they say in the article, you say regularly in conversation.
Oh, well, it's not because I'm smart, but it is because I'm like a parrot. So I've had, no, seriously, I've had lots and lots and lots and lots of sales training over the last 40, almost 40 years now, 35 years, a solid 35 years.
Sure.
And I'm good at listening to the trainer and then parroting what they do. And so I've learned a lot of things that way.
Yeah.
I'm really grateful that that is my learning style because it's made sales easier for me. It's made learning easier for me. It's why traditional school was hard for me, even though I did pretty okay. I might have done better in college. I didn't go to college.
You instead started having a family.
That was not for me.
And that was like graduate school right there.
But I might have done better though, because like professors' lecture style, I would have done great with that. And I'm not dead yet. Maybe I'll go to college. I don't know. You don't know. Maybe I'll go to medical school. I've got lots of time left.
You totally could, and you're into that.
I'm totally into it.
I'm so not into it. Londa has a foot issue right now, and she brought me charts and graphs about what kind of injury it likely is. And then she went and had x-rays done, and I think she's right on track. Right on track.
Who was right? I actually thought it was broken.
It was broke.
I thought it was.
That's one of the 7 things people say.
I was going to say, I thought I broke.
Oh, I gotcha.
I thought it was somebody else might be interested in this. I thought it was a broken sesamoid bone.
Right.
Sesamoid bones are the 2 little bones that sit under your big toe.
Okay.
It's not, but it is sesamoiditis, which is like basically a sprain of that joint.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. No.
So who was so close? And I promise you, the last few days, if I hadn't seen the x-rays with my own eyes and had him explain them to me, I would have staked my life on the fact that it was broken because it's been so painful. But guess who's got new Hokas? They're not cute, but they feel good.
I think they're kind of cute. I think they look a lot like your Brooks, but wider.
Which aren't cute.
Well, I think you're cute. So
you know what kind of shoes I think are cute? Here's the two things I can't do right now. My two favorite footwear, high heels and barefoot. Can't do either.
Right. Yeah. And when you walk around the house barefoot, you're doing this slide like a little lady at a jazz funeral in New Orleans.
I am.
It's a really good look, actually.
I was supposed to wear this little, it's a metatarsal pad. David calls them my toe panties because they kind of go over your toe.
It started as a toe bra and then morphed to toe panties.
Yeah. Anyway, it's an apparatus. Look at us, huh? Look at us talking about hearing aids and metatarsal pads.
Well, I think when you hit a certain age, this, you know what, we might change the name of this program to A Couple of a Certain Age. That
actually might fly. I thought of a couple of podcast ideas recently, and we're going to get back to your article because I really want to. But I thought of a couple of podcast ideas. One was naked faces.
Okay.
And it's just me and my best friends doing a facial once a week while we talk about like what it really means to be a woman, like the behind the scenes of everything that goes on in being, kind of a woman in the world today. But we're like giving ourselves like deep weekly facials when we talk about it, right? Because naked faces, like it's like we're stripping away.
Sure.
Yeah. So I thought of that recently. And then what was the other one I thought of? I'm always thinking of different menopause podcast ideas, but anyway, that's.
Don't minimize it. Keep going.
No, that's it. That's all I got.
So if you had a menopause podcast, what would it be about really? The symptoms, the outcomes, the health ramifications? What would it be about?
Oh, I think it would be, I do have an internet doctorate in menopause.
Great.
And I think it would just be about all those things. I saw Amy Poehler just won a Golden Globe.
Yep.
The first time the Golden Globes have had podcasts as a category,
Mm-hmm.
Amy Poehler won for her podcast called Good Hang. And I love that podcast, actually. And I saw a clip of her interview with Jennifer Lawrence.
Okay.
And Jennifer Lawrence is mid-sentence and like starts itching her ear. And she said, "Oh, I'm sorry. That was gross, right?" And she goes, she said, my ear just itches like crazy. And I'm so sorry. And Amy Poehler said, actually, ear itching is a sign of perimenopause. So welcome. And the fact that and then they all laughed and, Jennifer Lawrence was like, what the hell? But I think the fact that she said that
Mm-hmm.
is evidence of how it is finally becoming a mainstream topic of conversation. I don't have a conversation with a female, hardly ever, that we don't talk about perimenopause or menopause in some way, shape, or form in the conversation. So yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about it, but there's a lot of really good podcasts out there by actual doctors, not internet MDs. But yeah. So I think that's what I do.
I think that'd be an interesting podcast, actually. I do. And I'd watch the Naked Faces thing, but probably for a different reason than most people.
Yeah. Well, you know why I thought of that is because I'm moving 120, hopefully if this comes through, I'm moving 120 steps from one of my very best friends in the world. And I was like, oh my God, we could do facials. Like I'm literally in middle school. So yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
But
fun. Back to the article. This isn't just my show.
Okay, I wasn't ready to go to the article, but the article's down at the bottom.
It does feel like just
corner.
my show
Go
today.
to the corner. Yep. Nope. Right there. Now, I'm not going to read the article to you, but as you can see, phrases only high-level thinkers use in everyday conversations, according to psychologists.
Where can they, if they want to see this, where can they see it?
It says Global English Editing, and I don't know is the answer. And if we want to somehow put the link somewhere.
Listen, it's geediting.com.
Okay. geediting.com. This was sent to me by a sales trainer of mine and a mentor of mine, and it is really interesting. So,
there's a significant distinction between average thinkers and high-level thinkers. The crux of it is embedded in their language. Ooh, David! Stop talking dirty to me.
It goes on to talk about how high-level thinkers don't just, blurt out words, that they think about the ramifications of the words they say, and they say them strategically. One of the top 7 things that high-level thinkers say regularly in conversation is...
That's interesting.
And that is interesting. Another thing high-level thinkers say is, what if we... A third thing, I don't know, but I'll find out. This is all sales language that we were all taught young, by the way. I understand where you're coming from.
Well, that one would be a hard one for you to use.
I use it, though, because you have taught me the importance of empathy. So I do use this.
Put a pin in there.
Okay,
here we go.
Moving on. Number 5. I appreciate your help. I say stuff like that all the time, and it's because I always think I'm the dumbest person in the room. I was wrong. That's a hard one for me. How about for you?
No.
Nope. Easy. I was wrong.
Oh, well. Yep. Let's back that up a minute. Easy for me in business.
Okay.
Hard in personal relationships.
Interesting. I wonder why. I wonder how.
Especially this
I
one.
wonder what the difference is in the stakes.
My most intimate, closest personal relationship with my partner, you, that's you, surprise. It's really hard for me to say I was wrong because we all, listen, y'all, trauma is a lifelong thing that you work to overcome, okay? It's giving leverage. And if I give leverage, then that's showing weakness, and I can't be weak. I have to be strong. So for me, struggling to say I was wrong is a protective mechanism.
That's interesting that it's only in your most intimate relationships that you have trouble with that. I would think in casual relationships
no,
is where
because
that would be a problem.
my closest relationships are the ones who have traumatized me the most in my past.
Not me.
No.
You're not talking about me.
No.
So
I'm talking about past trauma. Hello, I started with
well, I get it. I get it, but it's.
I forgot we were recording for a second. I thought we were sitting on our couch.
A lot of trauma.
Hello.
Yeah. For people that don't have a lot of trauma, though, that is a hard concept to wrap their head around. Most people have a lot of trauma. Right?
I think most people get it.
I don't get it.
Most people, I think, understand that. So no, it's not. Let me just expand a little bit. The majority of my trauma as a child came, through my relationship with my parents, which many people do, right? Especially my mother. And so it's hard to say out loud. It feels like I'm shitting on her memory when I say that, but really it's just facts. It's not a judgment. Oof. Anyway, oh my gosh.
Who knew that reading an article about what high-level thinkers say would make you so emotional?
Everything makes me emotional, David. I don't know if you know. So anyway, and then, other people, things happened to me, but things happened to me because my mother didn't protect me, that kind of thing, right? So that, and then sometimes you repeat the pattern in other relationships, friendships. intimate relationships, marriages, whatever.
Sure.
Because it's not what's healthy, but it's what feels comfortable.
Right.
So you repeat these patterns in relationships. And so, those early traumas are well-worn pathways in your brain. And so you can build new pathways. There's all kinds of science that shows that, but those old pathways are still there. So it does come up. They do get triggered. You do start walking down that old well-worn path, and you have to hopefully be conscious enough and self-aware enough to kind of grab yourself. If you imagine a meadow with different pathways in it, some are very well worn, some not quite so much. And
Sure.
You're walking down one of these very well worn patterns or pathways because it's familiar. Then you realize, oh, there's danger in this pathway. There's a, crouching tiger, hidden dragon, whatever in the pathway. And you have to be self-aware enough to go recognize that danger and go, okay, if I keep going down this path, it could be dangerous. So I need to reverse it, go back and choose a different pathway. That all has to happen in a few seconds in your brain.
Sure.
To build new neural pathways. So sometimes it's a very well-worn path. So I do have a tendency I don't want to give up leverage. I don't want to open myself up, right? I got to protect myself here and I can't give you an inch. But it's not you. It's way back there. It's 5-year-old Londa that's in a battle,
Well,
not wanting to say I was
to
wrong.
know, though, right?
Yeah.
That's like my thing with having to defend myself when I feel like I'm being accused of something.
Yeah.
That comes from my childhood where I had to literally go on the stand and defend myself like a defense attorney when my mother thought there was some wrong that I had committed. Like when Dale Hilton and my cousin Mark DeWine were playing soccer in the backyard and Dale Hilton kicked the soccer ball through the kitchen window. And when that happened, they took off running. They were adults. They were young adults. They were 19 and 20. They took off running. And when my mother pulled into the front yard to come home from work, as she was getting home, Dale yelled to her, "David didn't mean to do it," got in his car and they drove away. So I had to defend my life for 2 hours in an interrogation that I did not, in fact, kick a soccer ball through the front window while my mother was saying, "I know you're lying. I know you're lying." That was traumatic. But it wasn't physically traumatic. It was emotionally and intellectually traumatic, right? But that's the only thing. Debating my mother is the only thing I remember as a kid that now, looking back at, you can consider traumatic. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
And 100% of my negative mental stuff that I have is based on that and one or two other incidents like that.
Can I say something about that?
Sure.
How old were you when that or your very first memory of having to defend yourself? How old were you?
Oh, I don't remember. Around that time, though, is when I have memories of that happening. It also happened when I sold Now and Later's. 10, 11, 6th grade, 5th, 6th, right in there.
Okay. So elementary school.
Yeah.
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 Probably happened earlier, I would guess. If that was the pattern, it probably happened earlier. But that's the first time you really recall it.
Yeah. And it's because it was an incident that my brother was not directly involved in as well. Both of the two that I remember, I was on my own. Nathan was with me all of my youth, so I was usually insulated by him, and his attitude got us out of trouble quickly because he was great at saying, "You're right, I apologize." Uh-huh. That's right.
Whether he was or not. He'd just fall on his sword.
And he would say to me, "David, don't be dumb. Apologize." I learned later in life that that's a strip line, and you do it in sales. You say, "You know what? That's totally my fault. I was wrong. I apologize," because that takes the air out of the sales of discontent from the other party.
It's interesting.
You know who taught me that? Brad Seabaugh from First Security Bank.
It's interesting that you have the skill set, just like I have the skill set in business to say I was wrong that fast. All we have to do is transfer that skill set to this.
Right.
I have the skill. All I got to do is transfer it. And what's interesting about it is that the reason I do it in business is because I want the conflict to end quickly.
Right.
And I don't care if I have to expose myself for it to end quickly. I just need the conflict to end.
Right.
But the excuse me, the truth of the matter is, even in this relationship, I hate conflict. I want the conflict to end quickly.
Sure.
And so I would my mental health would benefit from transferring that skill set. But what I wanted to say to you is, you didn't deserve that. Little 10-year-old David Austin, you didn't deserve that. You didn't deserve to feel like you were defending your life.
Right.
You know?
And that's very sweet of you to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I was wrong is number 6.
All right. Number 7.
Let's continue this later. Something you said to me this morning.
And it didn't work.
And I can't do that. It's true. It's hard for me to say.
You have the
"Let's
skill set.
continue
It's
this
just
later."
got to be transferred.
I just don't know how to do it because I'm a singular track thinker.
But I bet you do it in other situations.
I really don't. If a client calls me and says, "Hey, David, I need this," I can't do another thing until this has been done for the client. I can't. My mind doesn't work that way. And if I say, you know what, I'm going to put that on pause and I'm going to go do something else right now, I forget it and it's gone. I think that's why I have to do it right now. Because if I don't work immediately, it's like it never happened.
It's one of your coping mechanisms or survival instincts that you have developed to help cope with your ADD.
Oh, maybe.
I would almost guarantee it.
Maybe.
Okay, speaking of ADD, just really quick. I have a recommendation. Please go watch on Netflix. Marcelo Hernandez is a comedian. He's got a new stand-up called American Boy. And maybe you won't think it's as funny as I do, but when I tell you, I almost peed my pants. I think he is very funny. And I think part of it is I grew up in a predominantly Hispanic community.
Right.
And he's Cuban, I think Cuban, and his mom is Cuban. And I forget what his dad is, but so he has kind of that Latino lens on everything that he talks about. So maybe that's why I find it so funny. But when he talks about when he was a kid in school and his teachers told him he had ADD, and he went home and he told his mom, "Hey mom, I think I have ADD." And she said, "No, you don't." And so I didn't.
Right. That's right.
And then he goes on to tell this story about, but I had a friend and his mom let him have ADD and he got the pills, and he goes into this whole thing. And I'm telling you, it was hilarious because because of our age, I talk with people. I just had a conversation recently with somebody after we got done talking about menopause. Then we talked about ADD and how we didn't stand a chance. You focused or you got beat.
Right.
And I'm not saying that's the right thing, but I am saying it was effective. And he said he was about to get in big trouble one time for something. And he was and right then I decided to focus, and, you do develop though, these these little tricks that you do to, to overcome, I guess is what I'm saying. But let's continue this later.
Okay.
As the last one. Oh no, there's more.
What do you think? That's number 8. In the end, it's all about understanding. And I said earlier, empathy is super important. And that is the part of my identity that I was not really aware of until you came along and started talking to me about empathy. And for me, the definition of empathy didn't make much sense because to feel the way someone else feels, well, I can't do that. I don't have the capability to change my perception to someone else's perception. But that's not really what empathy is. What empathy is wanting to be understanding of how they feel, not being understanding of how they feel, trying to understand how they feel, not understanding how they feel. And
Imagining yourself in their position.
right.
We can't actually be in their position, obviously, but imagining yourself. If this was happening to me, if I was in that position, what might that feel like?
Right.
What could it be like? That's a really good way to look at empathy.
And that's interesting. And I like discussing things like that with you because you have a different understanding of what that is than what I had. Mine's very technical. No, I cannot perceive things the way you perceive them. There's no chance, not going to happen, can't do it.
Right.
Not factually, not possible.
And that was a fun conversation the first time we had it after we got married.
And I would say I can sympathize, but
Right.
I can't empathize.
But now we've gained greater understanding. And I think one of the best things we ever did is decide, like, we stay in it till we both understand, till we both feel resolved. And that doesn't always mean that we don't pause,
Right.
because sometimes I need a pause. I got to have a break or I'm going to be mean
Right.
as a defense mechanism.
Sure.
And whenever I say, hey, I need to put a pause on this, it's because I'm about to lose it and be really mean to you. And I don't want to do that. It's not necessary, but it is a defense mechanism. And so, but we always come back to it. If we have to table something, always come back. We keep discussing, we keep talking. It's funny when we, sit down to watch a movie or something and go, hey, can you pause that? I had a thought. And 2 hours later, we're still talking and we're
Right.
like, well, I guess we're not watching this movie now.
Which is why David Fetto says he'll never go to the movies with us again, because if
we don't do that in a theater
Well,
to that degree.
actually we do.
We do, but we don't do it to that degree.
Because we
don't,
can't stop the film, right? But yeah, I got to tell you, I far prefer watching movies with you where we can pause it, because I love to be able to say, hey, what do you think that motivation is right there?
Well, and this is something that we heard at the Golden Globes.
Right.
Someone making a speech said, go to the cinema.
Right.
We've lost the art of going to the cinema. Well, it's because it's no longer an art.
Well, here's the thing. There are certain things you want to see in a communal environment.
Not me.
Well, there are for me. If I'm going to go see a horror movie in the South, I'm going to go to the theater, because that's a fun experience where people are yelling at the screen and saying things like, oh, don't look there. You know what I mean? That's a different experience. That's a fun communal experience. That's way different than watching that movie in my living room by myself and having to pause it because something gets too too spooky. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Hearing somebody make a joke loudly in a theater, for me, fun.
Yeah.
But it's an experience. It's just a different experience. So as I age, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon were on Joe Rogan last week, and they talked about this because they just released a movie called The Rip, straight to Netflix. It did not go to the theaters. And they were both talking about how they're different experiences, right? There are movies that they said they'll only see in a theater because of the experience of that. You go, it's expensive, but you might spend $100 on a date if you get food and drinks and the movies. We've done that. And that can be fun. But I think Matt Damon said, but I do like being able to pause it and go to the bathroom and, go to the kitchen and make myself a shake and then come back to the movie and to talk about it, to be able to look. I can only imagine those two guys watching movies together. I'm sure they would pause it and talk about what's going on screen, just like you and I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's just a different experience.
Sure.
Just like
both important, both valid.
Just
different.
like when video cassette came out and people were like, oh no, theaters are going to close. Nobody's going to go see them in the theater. And actually, theater attendance grew because of VHS. It grew because more people were interested because more people had access to movies. So it grew the box office. Well, I suspect that this shift with all these streaming services and movies being released straight to video will make certain movies perform better in the theater because they're competing with an industry that's coming along beside it, right? The guy who made the Avatar movies, Jim Cameron, he was told. He was told.
The rest of us know him as James Cameron,
right.
but you know him as Jim. Go ahead.
I just know. I just saw an interview about this, and he was told you can't make a 3-hour movie about blue people that people will watch.
God, it's fabulous.
Well, now he's made 3 of them.
Yeah.
And they're all longer than 3 hours, and they're blue. And here's the thing. Psychologists say that color blue is soothing. And part of why it's so popular is because people are soothed seeing these giant, tall blue aliens.
Interesting.
Right? And people had Avatar depression, Avatar syndrome after Avatar because they wanted to go live on Pandora and be in a peaceful place.
I don't think those people are okay. We need to check on them. We need to check on those people.
Anyway, the fact that that kind of thing exists means the medium will survive.
I gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And COVID was terrible for movie theaters, but people are going back in droves. You know, you had Barbenheimer come out a couple years ago, right when we moved back to town. Biggest theater event of all time, 2 separate movies, and people went to the movies even though some of them still wore masks when they were there.
Right.
So I do think if you have an event movie, there will be event style showings.
Yeah. Make it an experience, though. You've got to make it an experience. We are looking for experiences, right? And so that's what has to happen. It can't just be the same old, same old.
I think people are looking for both experiences and connection. You know, how many people watch movies on their phones? How many people watch this podcast on their phones?
Most, I would say.
Do you know what I mean? So there's zero connection there.
It's true. We're dying for connection.
Right.
While fighting for our right to be independent. It's a very interesting time in the world.
It is an interesting time, and it's exciting, and I'm thrilled to be here to be able to experience it. Can you imagine our grandparents? They have no idea that this time is even happening. They had no idea. They couldn't even conceive of it. Right?
Yeah.
Nikola Tesla talked about in the 20s and 30s that someday people would communicate without wires in their hand. And now we're actually doing it. What a cool deal.
Yeah.
And we're computing and doing banking and shopping, all with something we hold in our hand.
And yet the majority of women, when they go to talk to their doctor about their perimenopause or menopause symptoms, are still told, just a part of life.
Yeah, which is why they need to refer to that thing in their hand, which will give them all kinds of other options about their health.
Yeah. Let me just mention that. Google exists, and now ChatGPT. Somebody asked a question on Facebook yesterday, and I thought, don't you have ChatGPT? Let me do this for you. And it was a complicated question, but in 20 seconds on chat, I had buckets of information for this person, which I probably should have sent it to her privately. Whatever. I don't want her to feel bad.
I gotcha.
Or feel silly at all. But anyway, so I don't understand not being educated, but I am a learner. I just took the Clifton Strengths. What's it called? It might just be called Clifton Strengths assessment for part of a class that I'm doing. I didn't just take it. I took it 2 months ago, and we just talked about it yesterday. So it's like fresh in my brain. And my number 1 strength is learner. My number 2 is what they call woo, which is basically just building rapport quickly with people.
Sure.
Which makes sense. Sales. Hello. And so, but being a number 1 learner, I guess it would make sense that I don't understand why people don't find the information, but I do it because it's how my brain's wired, literally. Sure. And not everybody's brain's wired that way. So
I think I'm high woo. In fact, Rebecca Breeding, one of my mentors and first sales mentors in broadcast sales, told me after I took the strengths assessment test that I was high woo. And I remember that because I didn't know what she was talking about when she said I was high woo.
And I can tell you why you didn't remember, because you never took the time to read through your results.
No, I let her tell me what it said. Hey, this week I wanted to do a coffee review that nobody asked for. Somebody actually did ask for it. We are out of time to do that this week.
Rats.
We will instead do that next week. So tune in for the coffee review that nobody asked for, but somebody really did.
Go out there and make the world a better place, would you? We need it.
It's going to be a beautiful day. The sun is not shining, so you need to make it shine. For the prettiest girl in the world, Londa Joanne Sherwood Austin, you really do look great in your little vest, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
My name is David Austin, and this has been another edition of The Session with Londa and David. We'll see you right here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.